All right, everybody. Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well on this Friday. And we've got some injury updates from the man himself, Mike Macdonald. Not necessarily about tomorrow's game, because we already kind of know what's up with tomorrow's game. We're talking about beyond tomorrow's game. So this is good stuff. Definitely want to talk about it. I know I'm a little bit late. I know this stuff came out like an hour ago, but whatever. This is when I was able to get to it. So let's dive in. And right off the bat, I'm going to tell you there is some immediately obvious good news and there's some immediately obvious bad news. This was a mixed bag of information from McDonald, and how you feel coming out of this press conference he had right before going to San Francisco is going to depend on, well, your perspective, I suppose. But for starters, let's start with the good news. We got some good word on Charles Cross being back very, very soon. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you guys about Sleeper. I'll tell you a little secret as well. It's more than just a platform for fantasy leagues. This year, millions of users have enjoyed playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but there's so much more to it. You have live stats, real-time updates of all stats. You have a news feed with lightning-fast updates on players and teams, and a real-time chat where you can engage with other users about plays, performances, games, all kinds of stuff during the sports season. So download Sleeper, experience it for yourself, and don't forget to use my promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit, and pair that with their new promo that will give you a free $20 entry, no deposit needed. So you can use both of those promos. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and going. So check out Sleeper today and use those promos. So, according to Mike Macdonald earlier today, they are optimistic. The team is. The team is optimistic that Charles Cross, the starting left tackle, will play in Seattle's first playoff game. And he did specify that would be even if Seattle's first playoff game is next week on the wild card round, which, if Seattle loses this weekend to San Francisco, that's the case. So there is at the very least optimism. Now, he wasn't definitive technically. He didn't come out there and just say, yeah, he's good to go. We know with 100% certainty that he'll be able to play. But he did say optimistic, and it fits the timetable, right? We were told 2 to 4 weeks. Next week would be 4 weeks. And then the week after that would be 5 weeks. So you would expect him to be back on the surface of it. So that's the good news. Charles Cross believed to be ready to be back soon. Expect him starting for the first Seahawks playoff game, whenever that playoff game may be. Now, we're going to segue into a little bit of bad news here from Greg Bell again. Tory Horton got a not so positive update courtesy of Mike Macdonald. He is not expected back this season. When asked about his shin injury, Macdonald was quoted as saying, and I'm going to go to Crabtree for the full quote here, what he has, it just takes a long time to heal. Put it this way, we're planning on not having him. And if something happens, which we're not counting on, and he's able to come back, then that's great. But right now, we're planning on not having him. So again, he doesn't completely shut the door on Horton, but he does indicate that Tory Horton is probably going to be out for the rest of the season, including the playoffs. I mean, we knew he was out tomorrow, so if he was just out for the regular season, it wouldn't be a big deal because we're already at the end of the regular season. But what this quote indicates is that he's not going to be back until next year, and that is a bummer. That is a disappointment. What I would say, though, and this is something that I've said multiple times over the last couple of months, I don't know how much Tory Horton would have been playing if he was healthy right now. Because remember, the Rashid Shaheed trade, if we, assuming we still make that trade, which I think is the sensible assumption to make right now, if you make the Shaheed trade and Horton comes back, and you've got a wide receiver room full of veterans now, JSN, Cup, Shaheed, and then you've got Horton there, who is a rookie, a fifth-round rookie, who's going to be getting the snaps on a team that doesn't deploy receivers that much, by the way? The Seahawks don't use receivers as much as the typical NFL team. So how much does Horton play? Like 20 snaps a game? Does he get the Cody White snaps and then maybe some of the Cooper Kupp snaps and that's it? And we're about to get into the playoffs. And the thing to keep in mind here, generally speaking, teams are going to lean on their veterans at playoff time. So whatever you may think of Cooper Kupp right now, and I know people are by and large discouraged with Cooper Kupp at the moment, they're probably going to turn to him before they turn to Tory Horton in the playoffs because that's the veteran. That's the guy who's won playoff games before. That's the guy who's won a Super Bowl MVP. And Horton is a rookie. So if we had gotten Horton back for the playoffs with Shaheed, JSN, and Cooper, what would Horton's role have been? And remember, Horton was also the punt returner, and Shaheed has taken that role pretty definitively. So there may have not been much for him to do. So personally, I am not alarmed by this in the sense that it hurts the team. It's just too bad for him. Okay, so that's the main stuff that came out of the press conference from Macdonald today. Charles Cross should be ready to come back next game. Horton probably out for the season. So, again, mixed bag. Now, there was some other stuff baked in there as well. Curtis Crabtree listed a couple things here. Talking about Josh Jones, basically said he's progressing. He had a good week. However, once again, he refused to commit to Josh Jones actually playing tomorrow night. Said that he's questionable and said, hey, the injury report is the injury report. That's what we got. That's the situation. Maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. He did not commit. So there is a real possibility here still, according to him, that he cannot play tomorrow. I'm hoping he's just messing around because San Francisco seems like they're messing around too. They're pretending like Trent Williams might play. But if he doesn't play tomorrow, Amari Kite is your left tackle. And then some guy that I don't even really know anything about is behind him. It'd be Logan Brown at that point, I think. So we really can't afford to be dealing with this. So hopefully this is just him messing around. Because not only do we need Josh Jones to play, we need him to play effectively. It's not like Josh Jones is an all-pro and he can just go out there at 80% and be great. No, Josh Jones is a veteran journeyman. If he goes out there at 80%, I don't know what that is. It's probably not anything all that special. Hopefully it's good enough because it doesn't seem like he's 100% right now, but this is a little bit dicey. Now, there were a couple other updates, but they weren't super informative. He was asked about Kobe Bryant, and he said Kobe did as much as he could this week and will continue into next week, so that's very vague. No real indication on whether or not he'll be available. And he also commented on George Holani and Elijah Arroyo progressing to be able to return. By the way, that Arroyo thing, that looms kind of large now, right? Because with Tory Horton now out for the year, this team is going to probably want to go heavy tight end more. And Arroyo is a part of that. Even if he hasn't had the greatest season, even if we're not necessarily the biggest fans of Arroyo, there is something that he can do to help this team right now. So we need him back. And we need him being able to do stuff. Even if it's just a couple catches a game, he's more of a playmaker and more of a threat than somebody like a Eric Saubert. As much as we like Saubert right now, Saubert not really the playmaker. Okay, so that's what we got right now. That's the injury report from Macdonald. Pretty reasonable, right? Like, I'm not mad about it. I'm not particularly torn up about it. Getting Cross back is a lot more important than getting Horton back. But it's too bad for Horton, who was having a nice rookie year. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos later today.